Elon Musk just blow up the big, beautiful bill?
No, I think he's a brilliant guy. He single-handedly has put Americans back into space in a big way, but he doesn't understand politics. He proved over the last 4 months that it was an interesting experiment and it didn't work. And I think very few House or Senate members are going to take him seriously.
Really?
Yeah, they're just going to, I mean, look.
Oh, they dismiss his comment.
They're just going to say this is not, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I do think there are senators who have very real concerns on the spending side, and Trump's going to have to work with them to find a way to make them more comfortable, because it's not an automatic yes. And some are very serious guys who've been around a long time.
I can't imagine it not passing. I mean, what would happen if it didn't pass?
I have a big imagination, so I can imagine it not passing, but I would bet that it will pass. But it will take Trump personally meeting with individual senators, listening to their concerns, and in some cases finding creative solutions outside the bill. I mean, if somebody comes in and says, I really want to help cut spending, they have a rescission bill as a start. Yep. They'll have some more rescission bills. There'll be other things they can do. And look, this is what the Founding Fathers wanted. It's a legislative process. The House has to say something. The Senate has to say something. The President has to get involved. It's exactly the system the Founding Fathers wanted.
They're calling it Alien versus Predator. And Vladimir Putin, I kid you not, Vladimir Putin is offering to help negotiate a peace. It's a battle royale for the ages, but unfortunately for one of them, it's not even close. We're going to see what's really going on here. We're going to see the latest on the status of the big, beautiful bill and what ultimately we should expect to come out of this very public clash of the Titans. Hey, gang, we often talk about how we can maintain and build up the conservative way of life. And one crucial aspect of that is your routine. Staying strong physically, mentally. It's not just about living longer. It's about living better, which starts with a good night's sleep. Now, I've partnered with Beam because they're a health and wellness company that's put in the time and rigorous research to craft science-backed solutions that truly optimize every system in your body from the moment you wake up until you lay your head down to sleep. Now, I've been using Beam Dream every single night for a while now, and it has completely changed the way I sleep. The endless news cycles, the uncertainty about our future, the weight of it all. I gotta be honest, it gets to me. It left me tossing and turning for hours. I have a very hard time turning my brain off. But gang, seriously, I'm not kidding you. Since taking Dream, I mean, I literally crash at night. I fall asleep so fast, and I sleep deeply and soundly all throughout the night. Beam Dream is made with the highest quality sleep-promoting ingredients to help you unwind and get that deep sleep we all need and deserve. In fact, it's become a nightly ritual of mine that I look forward to each and every day. If I may make a suggestion, I love their brownie batter flavor. You gotta try it with a little cream in there. It's beautiful. Plus, I never wake up feeling groggy the next morning. I wake up feeling rested and ready to give my all, making a huge difference in how I show up every single day. Right now, you can save up to 35% off with my exclusive Beam discount. Just click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen and use code Turley at checkout. It's time to stop letting sleepless nights hold you back. Transform your sleep and your day with Dream, because you deserve it, gang. Click on that link or scan that QR code right now. One of my favorite movies growing up as a kid was The War of the Gargantuas. Who's seen that? Put that in the chat if you've seen that. The War of the Gargantuas, 1960s Japanese monster movie. I can still remember where I was. I couldn't have been more like than 7 or 8 years old when I first saw it, when it first came on a black and white television that I was watching in my parents' living room. And I was just absolutely captivated by this movie. And it's about these two giant monsters who are brothers, but who ended up fighting each other with Tokyo as their ring, their octagon. and they end up destroying much of the city in the process. And I can't help but think that that's a fitting metaphor for what we're all witnessing here, minus destroying the city. I don't think anything's ultimately going to get destroyed. Well, outside of someone's fear, which I will get into. But this does appear that what we're seeing over the last 24 hours for sure, in terms of its escalation, does appear to be two gargantuan egos clashing without regard for whatever mess they happen to be making of things in the process. So let's start with the two overarching theories out there for this conflict between Trump and Elon. The first is that it's all staged. This is virtual politics. This is Kabuki theater. I'm calling this actually the Kabuki thesis. And what it's basically involves is that this is helping Elon decouple things from Trump so as to re-energize his businesses, particularly Tesla, and reestablish his independence from Trump for the wider market. So this theory argues that Elon had to have known that his outbursts would have adversely affected Tesla's stock. He had to know that. And Tesla investors are used to volatility, so that's okay. And it, of course, recovers since this is a scripted temporary feud. But Elon and Trump decided to have a massive public tiff over the reconciliation bill that was going to pass regardless. And that would be the occasion for Elon's decoupling. And he could decouple by coming across as principled in his libertarian opposition to the bill, and Trump would come across as loyal to his base, who overwhelmingly support the bill. We'll see that in a moment. And that they can both get what they want and walk away in a win-win situation. And Megyn Kelly appears to be very prone to that theory based on her own experience. Check this out.
Really crazy. So crazy, Sean, because I walked out. We agreed, like, we're good. And the last thing he said to me before I walked out of Trump Tower was, you know, Megyn, it's not such a good thing if they're not talking about us. And I was like, oh my God, was this whole thing for show? Like, was he acting the whole time?
Wow.
To generate buzz?
So that's what I'm calling the Kabuki theory, that this has all been choreographed. This has been staged in order to generate a particular publicity. Some are theorizing that would enable Elon to decouple himself from Trump, where they both have a win-win. Now, the primary reason for such a theory is the inability to believe that Elon could be this totally and completely stupid. I'll just be blunt. This widely recognized, obvious genius could not possibly be so stupid as to think he could deliberately turn the most powerful man on the planet into his enemy, and somehow he'll come out on top on that one. He could not possibly be so stupid as to inadvertently tank Tesla stock. I mean, he's got the entire Democrat Party trying to bring him down. There's no possible way that he would think it would be to his advantage to turn himself into the enemy, the most powerful man on the planet, really the only one ultimately who's standing in between Elon and his enemies. I think it's that assumption that's ultimately the driving dynamic behind the Kabuki hypothesis. But as this thing continued to escalate to Defcon 5 levels throughout the day, that hypothesis began to shatter. It became more and more apparent that this is real. Elon went ballistic. He went directly from Defcon 1 to Defcon 5 in a matter of just a few tweets over a freaking reconciliation bill That doesn't make sense. Who would have scripted that? Who would have scripted, yeah, let's have a little feud over the reconciliation bill. And then, yeah, then you accuse me of being a pedophile. Right? And then I'll accuse you of being a bona fide Nazi. I mean, it just literally in a matter of a couple of tweets, Elon accused Trump of being in the Epstein files, and that's why they weren't being released. That's the real reason. How's that for a bomb, he said. He openly floated the notion of starting a third party. And he called for President Trump's impeachment and conviction and J.D. Vance to be made president instead. And then he threatened to take his rocket and go home and cease all SpaceX operations. I mean, this was an escalation of the highest hysterics that suggests to me this went way beyond script. And it became apparent to more and more people, Charlie Kirk, Steve Bannon, Jack Posobiec, many others, that this was indeed genuine. This was a real war of the Gargantuas, two gargantuan egos clashing, the richest man in the world versus the most powerful man in the world. And so then, if that's the case, then the question is why? Why would Elon pick a fight with Trump or vice versa? I think the chronology favors the former. It was Elon who did come out of nowhere swinging against the big, beautiful bill, calling it a, quote, disgusting abomination. Then just hours later, he called on his millions of ex-followers to call their senators and congressmen and kill the bill. And then Trump was like, dude, over my dead body, this bill is going to pass. I'm all in with this thing. And then he insinuated that Elon didn't like the bill because it took away his subsidies. And that's when things went ballistic from Elon. But we have to realize that what Trump said there actually does have merit, at least from the vantage point of perception. A number of pieces are coming out detailing how Musk sought to profit from his proximity to Trump. For right or for wrong is kind of irrelevant. It's just that what Trump said there for why Elon didn't like this bill does have, it seems, at least some merit. So, for example, Musk has significant ties with China. Bannon has been railing on that for years now. While Teslas made in the United States are by and large produced here, that's true. Many of the Teslas that Musk sells across the globe are produced where? They're produced in China, as is some 40% of his battery supply chain, meaning his fortune to a significant degree rests on being in the good graces of President Xi and the CCP. And again, apparently reports are that inside the White House, Trump was actually quite livid to have found out that at one point Elon was actually invited to a China intelligence briefing inside the White House. Trump saw that as a clear conflict of interest. And then we're getting word that during Trump's recent Middle East trip, there were reports that Musk worked hard to sabotage the deal between the UAE and his competitor Sam Altman's OpenAI, if it didn't include Musk's own AI startup. And again, he was reportedly milking his close relationship with Trump for his own gain there in the Middle East. But unfortunately for Musk, the deal went through without him, which he wasn't happy about. And it's been reported that he was equally unhappy about the big, beautiful bills cutting off of electric vehicle tax credits. He did say as much in a tweet, saying that notice they're not doing this against fossil fuels. This is a government subsidy upon which Tesla does, at least to an extent, rely. So this is exactly what Trump said in terms of why he thought Elon was doing his best to tank the bill, to use the good graces that he had amassed as one of the most important members of the MAGA movement to try to convince the MAGA base to rise up and pressure their congressmen to defeat this bill, all the while putting his own pressure on members of Congress to sink it by threatening to fund primary opponents or even start a third party. And so that set the stage for this clash of titans, the richest man in the world versus the most powerful man in the world. And Elon appears to thought that he could pull this off. Elon thought he could pull this off, and then at some point realized he can't. Hey there, Turley Talker. You know what? I'd love to hear from you. That's why I'm launching the Dr. Steve hotline, where you can call in, leave a question, and maybe even hear your own voice featured on an upcoming episode of the show. Whether it's about the latest political shakeup or cultural trends or how we keep pushing forward in this new conservative age, I want to know what's on your mind. Call me at 717-844-5984. Just leave your question. I'll be checking in every single week to answer as many as I can. Again, that's 717-844-5984. Your chance to be a part of the conversation. One more time, 717-844-5984. Give me a call and let's talk.